What's up, everybody? It is Sunday, and we've been working in the shop all weekend. And I went live for a little bit last night, and I didn't really have time to take a lot of video yesterday. I kind of needed a day off, to be honest with you. I'm pushing myself a little bit too much, maybe. Kind of just getting tired. Tired. But I went live for a little bit last night for about an hour. While we were putting Billy's engine together. Let me show you what we got done so far. So be watching for the video on Billy's channel of us assembling this engine last night. But what we got done was assembling the entire short block. This engine consists of a Dart little M block, standard bore for 400, which is 4125 bore. The stroke is 3.75 6-inch connecting rods by Oliver, a Calais crank, and this equals 400 cubic inches exactly. As we mentioned earlier, we've replaced all of the connecting rod bolts after we found one connecting rod bolt that didn't stretch properly. Piston to cylinder wall clearance measured 5 thousandths of an inch. The top rings were set at 34 thousandths end gap and the bottom one set at 32. So anyway, we did get the short block assembled, and needed to take a trip up to see Uncle Bob today. I needed to take his torque wrench back to him, and we had forgotten to bring home the front cover plate for the belt drive, the oil pump drive shaft, the oil filter adapter, a few little odds and end pieces at the machine shop. So I ran up to see Uncle Bob today to pick up those parts, take back his fancy torque wrench, and it turns out Uncle Bob found some problems with the cylinder heads. Check it out. What's going on, Uncle Bob? Bob had called me earlier in the day to tell me he had a little problem with the cylinder heads. If Bob tells you there's a little problem, there's definitely a problem. So I didn't know what to expect when we got there. Now, Bob had mentioned that one intake valve had stretched a little bit and he was concerned with that. But there was also another problem. When he put the heads up on the mill, both of the cylinder heads had a low spot between the Siamese exhaust valves. A pretty common problem on a small block Chevy. So Bob carefully took one pass after another until both of the heads came out perfectly flat. It turns out he needed to take about 5 thousandths of an inch off of each head. Next, Bob checked all the valve guides and all the valve stems for wear, and up to this point, everything looked pretty decent. All the valves looked good except for one intake valve that showed some kind of a traumatic situation here where it had tuliped and possibly been bent just a tiny bit. After a few passes on the valve grinding machine, this intake valve did clean up and could have passed inspection, except for there was one problem. The valve showed that it had stretched 13 thousandths of an inch, and with the excess taken off the valve in order to get the valve to seat, now our installed height on this particular valve was going to be way off. Now, only one of these valves showed any problems, but we didn't know how many runs were on these valves, how old they were. We didn't even really know what brand of valves they were. So we had to make a decision.
So we're going to replace it. We're going to replace the set.
Well, that's what I would do, is just replace the whole set. That way they're a known commodity. We know what they are.
And
then the next,
they are in stock, and I'll have them tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Or not tomorrow, but Tuesday.
Well, good. Excellent. How in the hell did you find that out on a Sunday?
You
got connections?
I got connections.
And therefore we have connections, huh, Uncle Bob? So hopefully by Wednesday we'll have Billy's cylinder heads back so we can put them on his engine. It's always something with engines and race cars. You know, it always takes a little bit longer than what you think it's going to take, and there's always a little problem here and a little problem there. But anyway, we've got plenty of work to do, and as you can see, Tommy's little small block 350 that we pulled out of the corner out there. I've got it painted and we've got some valve covers for it, and I've dug out all the accessory drive and pulley and water pump setup, and I'm gonna work on putting that on tonight. So they're a little bit dirty from sitting. They've been up over top the shop for quite a while, and it looks like we're missing a pulley here. I'll have to get a idler pulley. I've probably robbed that off there to put on a Suburban or something, but I've got everything else here: the power steering pump, the pulley, the serpentine belt, the alternator, the AC compressor, the belt tensioner, water pump, and the March underdrive pulleys. This is all the original stuff that came off Billy's S10 years ago when it had air conditioning on it. Now, these are the original brackets to Billy's S10. The 4.3 liter V6 and the small block Chevy share the same water pump, the same everything on the front drive accessories. It's all the same. The 4.3 is literally just a 350 small block Chevy with 2 cylinders cut off. So all this 4.3 V6 accessory drive bolts right on the little small block 350 back here. So let's get started. All right, guys, so we got the accessory drive all put on the little small block 350 for the C10. I'm missing just a couple little things. I need some, I'd like to have all matching nuts on the valve covers. Right now, they're not quite matching. So I want to get some new valve cover nuts at Jegs tomorrow, some ARP stuff. And I need to get a new idler pulley because I've robbed an idler pulley off of this setup to probably put on Vicky's Suburban. I think I remember doing that, I don't know, a couple of months ago when it was squeaking. So I need to pick up an idler pulley. I'll go down and get one of those from Mark down at A1 in Buckeye Lake tomorrow. And I got to figure out how to wire the alternator onto the C10, because this is the late model alternator off of an 88 S10, and the wiring on it's a little bit different. So I need to look into that. Outside of that, I think we're ready for an intake manifold. I've got the proper intake gaskets here, some Felpros I got from Mark, and they've got those little steel block-off plates to block off the EGR exhaust gas crossover. So the dipstick's in it. It's painted. I know a lot of people were mentioning that why didn't you pull a pan and put new gaskets and this, that, and the other. Okay, so I didn't tell you guys that this engine has been overhauled not too long ago. So it was in an 86 C10 pickup truck, and the guy who owned the pickup truck decided he wanted to put an LS engine in it. So he pulled this little 350 out, and it was a complete running engine. And based on what I saw, I would say it probably only has 30 or 40,000 miles on it at most. Due to the fact that it had brand new freeze plugs and soft plugs in the block, the pan gaskets and everything looked like they were in really good condition. It didn't look like it was leaking really that bad. It's just typical small block Chevy. They always have a little bit of an oil film on them if you drive them every day and put miles on them. So I really feel like this engine's probably going to be okay. I think it's probably got an RV cam in it, some mild camshaft. It had an aluminum intake manifold on it when it came here. I'm not sure where it went. Going up there and looking through the stuff above that shop, but I think there might be a Performer RPM intake upstairs. But one way or the other, I think I remember that Edelbrock carburetor I've got laying up there came with it too. So this was a running, driving engine. They pulled it out to put I think a 6-liter LS in it or something. So I wasn't too concerned with it. I know it was stuck from sitting in here. I probably didn't take care of it the way I should, but I think it's going to be okay. It should be pretty decent. If it's not, it's no big deal, because I have like no money in it other than the paint. That's literally the only money I've got in it, is the cleaning supplies and the paint that I've painted it with so far. So we've got that done. Billy's engine, let's see, what are we doing here on Billy's engine? I wanted to put new seals in this timing cover, the crank seal and the cam seal. Both look like they were in pretty bad shape. The cam seal had a little nick in it, and they were pretty hard. So I went ahead and knocked those out tonight. Billy's got them with him. I think we're going to go to Jegs tomorrow. They showed that they had them in stock. So that'll be another trip to Jegs tomorrow. Bob thinks he'll have the new intake valves by Tuesday. So hopefully by Wednesday we'll have Billy's heads back and we can go ahead and put his heads on. His engine's sitting right here ready to go. Let's see, we've got the oil pan, but I can't put the oil pan on until I put the timing cover on, and I can't put that on until I put new seals in it. So we're at a stopping point with Billy's. If nothing else, maybe tomorrow we can start working on that C10. We need to pull the engine out of it, and it's got a Performer intake manifold on it. So when we pull that engine out, I can always pull that Performer intake off and just put the Performer intake manifold on this. So no end to the projects around here. And I'm not sure where we're at on Tommy's truck yet. I have talked to AJ. But we've just got stuff going on everywhere. I got engines tore apart in every direction, and it's crazy around here. But it's dinner time. So I think I'm going to go in and eat my dinner and clock out for the night. Finish this video up, get it uploaded, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you for watching.